Hello folks, and welcome back to another Try to Get Ready with me. I am just doing some skin and nail care today to get ready ahead of my week. And honestly, I don't know if you can hear it, my dryer is going in the background. I wasn't really planning on filming today. Today was supposed to be sort of like a rest break, and I just got back from a tiny vacation on the Olympic Peninsula, and I don't know, I just had some thoughts and feelings that I wanted to come and chat with y'all about. So here we are. Man, it's rough out there right now, huh? It is. It has not been great. I have spent the last many weeks trying to find a balance, and if I'm being honest, failing. I feel as though I am failing to find a healthy balance in my life with everything that is happening in the world, with being aware of what is happening in the world, with being active with what is happening in the world, and also being a small business owner and a new small business. The studio is coming up rapidly on 6 months open, which is incredible, but I don't know what to do or how to do it or how to handle it all, and I'm sure I'm not the only one. I open my phone in the morning and I see the news, and it is terrifying, and every day it is worse. Every day I open my phone and the news is like new ICE raids, in my area, more people detained and taken right off the streets with no due process, with no nothing. More anti-trans bills introduced into legislature. J.K. Rowling is planning to spend all of the money from the new Harry Potter reboot on fighting against trans rights, political assassinations, issues with war in other countries, issues of starvation happening around the world, climate change, wild weather events happening, unprecedented storm, unprecedented rainfall, over and over and over, and it's every day, and it's every morning, and the human mind was not meant to face this onslaught of constant information and constant bad information. And so sometimes I disconnect from it, and I have to, do the job of running my studio. I have to make silly little Instagram posts to know when we're in and out of the studio, and update people on merchandise collaborations, because there are artists who are relying on me and some of the collabs that we do at Nexus and some of the things that I post to help pay their bills or afford their medication. And I have to keep the studio afloat. I have to pay my own bills, and I have an apprentice, and I have to pay his bills and make sure that he is paid and that he is getting a fair working wage and that he can still afford to access his HRT and his medications and things that he needs to live. And then sometimes my brain just can't do it all. Sometimes I have to sit down and just read a whatever book for a little bit and, get lost in the politics of the Cosmere and Brandon Sanderson's universe, because my brain is literally overflowing and cannot handle what is happening in our world. I need a half-hour break. And no matter what I am doing, it just simply does not feel like enough right now. Take today, for example, right? I had a pre-planned vacation with a dear friend who has been going through a tough time and dealing with some loss recently, and we went on a small camping trip to the Olympic Peninsula and got to go to Ruby Beach and the Halls of Moss hike and do some really cool tide pooling on a low tide day out there. And it was an amazing trip. And so today is the day that I have gotten back from it, and I have an important virtual meeting thing with a doctor concerning my continuing gender affirming healthcare stuff. And I've been waiting to speak with this specialist for a very long time, and I've been rescheduled on now 3 times. That's why it's a weekend day, and I finally have my meeting. And I'm very excited for it, because it's been a while in the making, and I'm hoping it leads to some answers and some next steps for me. And so I technically have the day off, like, I just got back from a vacation. I, like, do have some small work tasks I have to do virtually, but I technically have the day off. And I find myself just absolutely frozen with indecision about how to spend my day. Obviously, I have this virtual meeting doctor's consult thing, but there's also big protests happening right now. And there's a part of me that is like, well, the doctor may have had to reschedule on you 3 times, but like, you should reschedule the 4th and go and be at those protests. And that should be what you're doing with your day. And the fact that you're not means that you're not doing enough. And it's that voice inside our head, I think, that struggles with perfectionism and always having to do everything. And, you know, many of my friends are going to be out at the protest, and I may be able to head out after this consultation, depending on how long it ends up taking. But I can't put aside the healthcare that I've been waiting, I don't know, like 6 or 7 months to get access to for it. And then it's like, well, if you can't be out protesting, you should at least be, you know, reading relevant literature, some of these books that you have in your TBR, or like working on stuff that you can do and post online to help uplift voices, or, you know, volunteering your time however you can today, like from home while you're waiting for this meeting to start. And there's the other part of me that's like, you should spend this time working on stuff for the shop and working on, you know, like behind the scenes administrative work to run a business and keep a small business successful, because I still need to devote my time to that. I still need to make sure that Nexus is doing well. And there's another part of me that's like, you should rest. You should take just one day for yourself. When was the last time you took a day for yourself to just rest, to get all of the chores and tasks done around the apartment, to make the apartment comfortable and livable, to cook a nice meal for just myself instead of 4 other people, to spend some time hanging out with girlfriend and lazing about in the sun, to take a nap during the daytime, to just rest and reinvigorate myself. And I don't have an answer. You know, those are all important things to do. Getting out there, using our voices, protesting, participating, community solidarity, like, that's something we should be doing. If we have a job, if we own a small business, if we work as a piercer, we need to be investing our time in that, especially these days. I see so many piercers who are struggling, so many businesses who are struggling. Our industry has been very impacted by tariffs and changing things globally. The cost of gold and titanium and the materials that we use, many of which are manufactured in other countries, is unreal. And the rest is also important. Taking time for yourself is also important. Taking time to take a break from what is happening, to reconnect with people in your lives, to take care of yourself, to rest. And I find myself lately struggling with indecision. I will have these rare moments and bits of free time, and I will think to myself, like, okay, like, what do I do? How do I spend it? And I think about all of these things, all of which are wildly, monumentally important. And whichever one I choose to do with my time, I feel guilty that I did not choose the others. Girlfriend, what's up? Girlfriend thinks I should choose rest and we should just play with her all day. But if I do that, I will find myself feeling wildly guilty for not going out to the protests, for not helping, for not making my voice heard, for not doing more work for the studio that I could have been doing. I will wake up tomorrow and think, oh my God, how much could I have gotten done yesterday? How many emails could I have sent? How many orders could I have drafted? You know, how many files could I have worked on? How many videos could I have filmed? I will also find myself thinking I should have been at the protest. I should have at least been, like, you know, reading on more theory and, like, being with community members in solidarity, or, like, helping after the protest with anything that was needed. And if I choose to go to the protest, I will find myself thinking, why did I push myself when I've been in a rough place? My whole community has unfortunately recently dealt with, like, a very large loss of someone many of us knew and were close to. I need to give myself time to grieve that. I need to give myself time to maintain my own life, to process my own things that are going on. This is going to be a very heavy medical appointment that is going to potentially change what the next couple of years for me look like medically. Like, I should take time to sit with that and to sit with these next changes and these next steps in my health journey and in my transition journey, and there's no answer that absolves me of feeling guilty for not choosing the other. And I think a lot of people are feeling that way, because when I talk to everyone I know, any of my peers in this industry, most of us, the response is just, we're hanging in there. Every day we wake up and we see these horrible things on the news and we are so overwhelmed with it. And then we go to work and we go, does anyone want some earrings? Does anyone want some earrings? And it feels meaningless, and it feels pointless, and it feels like I'm wasting my time and I'm not doing enough. And then I have interactions like my last one of the shift the day before I went on my tiny vacation. And it was this amazing Mexican-American woman who came in to get her septum pierced as a method of reconnecting with her indigenous Mexican ancestors. And we had just the most amazing connection off the bat. I shared my experiences as someone who was also mixed and part Mexican-American on my father's side, and like what it was like growing up with those family members. We talked about the way that basically you might as well come out of the womb with earrings if you are a girl in Mexican culture. And I talked about the fights that my aunts had with my mom's side of the family to get my ears pierced young, and she talked about the pressures to get her daughter's ears pierced very young. And we talked about what has been happening in the world. And she looked at me after she looked at her septum piercing in the mirror with tears in her eyes and said, if they're going to hunt us down and treat us like less than human and do these terrible things to us, then not only am I going to resist, but I am going to resist loudly. I'm going to resist with the jewelry of my people in my face. I'm going to resist with the tattoos of my people on my skin. I'm going to be unabashedly proud of being Mexican American and doing these things that are traditional to me, that connect me to my culture and my heritage. And I am going to say very loudly, just by my presence on the street, that I am here, that I belong here, that this is my country, that this is where I live, that you will not remove me, that I deserve to be here, that I deserve to be treated with respect and humanity. And it was just, I started crying. We shared the most amazing moment, and it is in those moments where it is like, it is not pointless. What I do can have so much power and so much impact on individual people's lives, and that is worth it, and that is worth fighting for, and that is worth continuing to do. But when I sit down to make an Instagram post about, $2,000 emerald and diamond earrings, I ask myself if I've lost the plot. I ask myself if this is the right use of my time. I ask myself, what is going on? What am I doing? And I do that when I'm just resting at home after work and not working on emails or doing these things. And I do it when I am, volunteering with a mutual aid group and it's not a skill set that I have a high level of, I'm a beginner at. And I ask myself, what am I doing learning this new skill or doing this new thing? I'm not already perfect at it. Is this the best use of my time? And there is this paralysis and this fatigue that I think a lot of us are going through, where there is this standard of perfectionism in the piercing industry and also in, leftist activist spaces, where if you're not doing it and you're doing it perfectly and you're not doing it with all of your time and all of your energy and all of your effort, then like the things that you are doing somehow don't matter or are lesser than. And some of this I think is our own things to overcome, right? I struggle with toxic perfectionism. I've been very open about that. I have been struggling with that since I was very young. That runs in my family. But it is also a problem in these larger spaces that contributes. There is a problem with perfectionism in body piercing. There is a problem with perfectionism in activism. And take someone who is already predisposed to struggle with perfectionism and put them in those two spaces and watch them struggle even more with it. And that seems to be the consensus among a lot of my peers who are also currently struggling with a lot of the same issues. I unfortunately didn't make this video because I have an answer, because I know how to deal with it. If you do and you're watching this video, oh my God, like, what is it? Let me know. That would be so beneficial. But I made this video because I don't have the answer, but I know that it might help me. I know that it has helped me to see other people I follow online and look up to in these spaces, in piercing spaces, in leftist spaces, in just personal life spaces, or in other careers or industry, talk about dealing with this same struggle and trying to find the balance. And that is currently what I am trying to do. I am trying to find the balance. I am sitting here right now filming a video, which makes me feel productive in a work sense, and doing the tasks I need to do for the week ahead, trimming and maintaining my nails, because this is, you know, an important part of being a body piercer. I work with my hands all days. My hands need to be clean, my nails need to be maintained. There can't be spaces for, you know, bacteria to collect on my nails. My cuticles need to be maintained. And it also helps me feel like a little bit of self-care. And I'm gonna go to my doctor's appointment, and I'm gonna give myself an hour after that meeting where I'm not gonna let myself rush out to a protest or an event or anything happening in the city. I'm just gonna sit with how that meeting has gone and what it means for me, and I'm going to see how I feel. And if I feel up to making it out into the city, into the protests today, amazing. I will go out and I will do that. And if I don't, and if the information from my doctor is too much or feels too heavy or gives me too much to think about, then I will stay home. And if I have the spoons, I'll start the next book on my TBR, which is vaguely relevant to what is happening right now, and also relevant to a lot of cool historical stuff that interests me, and I think will be good. You know, we'll see. I'm tentatively excited for this next book, and if even that feels like too much, then I will rest today, and I will go to the grocery store and do my shopping for the week, and meal prep some things to eat for the rest of the week, and curl up with girlfriend and read some Brandon Sanderson and some light media that is not too much on my brain, and rest and tell myself that I cannot pour from an empty cup, and I am of service to no one if I am exhausted and burnt out and at my limit, or if I do not seek the health care that I need to continue to showing up and doing the work. And that is all I can do, is take it one day at a time and make the best effort I can, whatever that looks like that day. And every day's best effort is going to look different. Today, my best effort has to be focused on a doctor's appointment, even though there's important protests happening, even though part of me feels like I should be there. I can't put off this healthcare that I've been waiting for, you know? I can't close the studio or leave my job randomly, not when I have people relying on me to go to these things, but I can do what I can, where I can, and that will be enough for now. And it is the best that I am capable of doing right now, and maybe in the future that best will look better. But right now this is what it looks like, and that is all I can offer, and that is all I can do. And these days it is so hard to figure out what that looks like. And it's especially hard because this is the best that I can do right now, but I know that it's not the best I have been able to achieve in the past. I know that I am burnt out on seeing this terrible news every day. I know that I am overwhelmed between life and keeping my life afloat and taking care of my health and my well-being and the people close to me and the people who depend on me and everything that's happening in the world. I know that I'm overwhelmed. I'm not too proud to admit that. Like, it is a lot. Opening a studio is a lot. Having an apprentice is a lot. Starting a business is a lot. Doing all of this in today's day and age is a lot, while still trying to continue transitioning and continue doing these things and everything that's happening in the world. It's all a lot. And I know that my best in the past has looked better, but I also know that we weren't built to receive earth-shatteringly bad news all day, every day, live streamed directly from our phones into our faces 24/7 nonstop. And the compassion fatigue, the empathy fatigue is a real thing that we have to fight and focus on. And it is hard. It is so hard. And I think the more, honest we are with ourselves, the more we stop holding each other to perfectionist standards that are impossible for people to reach, the more we hold space for people to show up, whatever that looks like. We still encourage people to grow and to have their best look better, but we encourage them to show up as they are now in piercing and in activism and in life. I don't have any big insights for you or any of the answers, let alone all of the answers. I mostly came down here to selfishly calm myself down and feel like I was productive today, and do the tasks that I needed to do, get my nails ready for the work week ahead, take care of my skincare a little bit. I'm having a wonderful little cycle breakout here. Love to see it. But also just be vulnerable about what I've been dealing with and what I feel like a lot of us are dealing with right now, and name that it is okay to be struggling to maintain a balance and feel like you're always doing what you should be doing or what the right thing is. It is okay to be having a hard time with that. I think a lot of us are. And to be vulnerable about that, and let people know. So yeah, if you have suggestions about how you're finding that balance in your day-to-day life, or things that you're doing, or things that you'd like to see me do with my platform, things that you think I should be doing or speaking up more about, let me know in the comments down below. Even if it's just to share some solidarity, that you know what it's like to feel this way too. It's tough times out there right now, but I believe in us, and I refuse to lose hope, regardless of what the people in power are doing. Thanks for hanging out. It's always another heavy one with these chatty get ready with me's, I swear, and hopefully next week is a little bit of a lighter one. Have a great rest of your day, y'all. Stay safe out there. Bye.